welcome back to another video. This really popped when I saw it. That to me is a monster increase. Again, this book got hot. This book is ready to go higher. So let's jump right into it. We are back today with another statue review from Diamond Select Toys. Without further ado, let's get into the review. What is good, YouTube? This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles, and thank you for joining me for another video here on the channel. Today, of course, we're having a Instagram sales video where I go through the top consignment pages and I look for books that have recently sold, and we talk about them. We talk about what we think they sold for, how much they were listed for, and of course, we go through GPA and check out the prices there as well, too. But before we get started in the video, like always, I want to remind you guys, if you're not a current sub of the channel, do yourself a favor, hit that sub button for me, hit the like button because it helps the channel out. If you're interested in merch, like always, I got you covered. Check out the links below. With that said, let's check out what's hot right now on Instagram. Let's start off this video talking about a massive pre-code horror book. It is a copy of Black Cat Mystery number 50 in an insane 9.0 off-white pager graded by CGC, and to boot, it is a file copy. This book was offered by Elite Comics 11 for $33,950. And when I first saw it, I thought, you know what? Man, that is a good deal for a high-grade copy of this book. How many could exist? So I had to do it. I went to the CGC census and saw there were a total of 12 books graded and a 9.0 or higher. 4 in a 9.0, 4 in a 9.2, 4 in a 9.4, 3 in a 9.6, and believe it or not, guys, there's actually one copy of this book that exists in a CGC 9.8. So I went into the GPA data to see what this book sold for last, and the last file copy, believe it or not, was just this past June for $32,960. So keep in mind when I do these videos, I do not know what these books sell for, but basically this person was asking $1,000 over what they paid for it. So I'm not too sure why they were selling it. Maybe they needed money, put money back in their pocket. Believe it or not, I used to have a copy of this book in low grade, a CGC 1.0 that I sold because my copy wasn't appreciating when the big comic boom exploded in 2020 and 2021. So I decided to go ahead and bite the bullet and sell my copy. Either way, I'm shocked to see this person sell this book. Regardless, do I think the buyer got a good deal? 13 copies in a 9.0 or higher. That is ultra rare and high grade. Definitely worth a buy if you have the scratch to go ahead and buy this book. Either way, if you own this book, high grade or not, classic cover, one of the best from the pre-code horror era. Next up, let's talk about a copy of Fantastic Four number 48 and the first appearance of the Silver Surfer. Now, every time I see this book go up for sale, it seems it's less and less and less every time I see it. This copy in a CGC 3.0 off-white pages was offered by, again, Elite Comics 11 for only $649. A rough copy, don't get me wrong, definitely some spine wear, definitely some edge wear at the top of the book, but $649, I couldn't believe it was that cheap. Either way, when we get to the GPA data, we can see that the last sale was in this November for only $690. The 90-day average all the way back at $763 on 8 sales. 12-month rolling average, $894 on 29 sales. In 2022, the average is $1,418, and way back in 2021, the average was $1,767. Now, I wanted to illustrate something to you guys at the bottom of this GPA data. You can see that graph right there. It shows you from 2002 all the way up to right now. And what I've done before is show you basically a bottoming pattern and how that really looks. We're actually below that pattern right now. We're talking about below 2018 prices. This book is really taking a hit, and I cannot understand why it has gotten so low. I know there's roughly around 8,000 copies that have been graded by CGC, but either way, that is a massive key. I want to know from you guys out there in the community, do you think this book is going to go back up when we see Silver Surfer in the MCU? I know a lot of these books are no longer tied to what the MCU does. Regardless, the fact that it's dipped below 2018 prices is telling me I think we should stay the hell away from this book. I'm not going to lie to you. If you're a big Silver Surfer fan, you want to own the book. Regardless, you must own the book. Outside of that, what is the motive to pick one up right now? I'm almost tempted to pick it up because it's so freaking cheap, but I really want to own a 4.0 or higher, but that's just me. Up next is one of my favorite DC books from the Silver Age. It is a copy of Detective Comics number 359, the first appearance of Batgirl. This one offered up by Diamond Comic Club in a CGC 5.5 off-white to white pages. Now, if you're a DC fan, the Silver Age to me wasn't the greatest time to buy books. There are some great Silver Age first appearance of Batman villains, and this book right here, there is a first Mr. Freeze, there is a first appearance of Poison Ivy, which are true firsts. I always say buy those books, but this one I also consider in that category. Again, what they were asking for this book was $495, which is not bad for a 5.0. But let's check the GPA data. You can see the last sale on this book was only $478 back in October. The 90-day average, $541, but only 3 sales. That shocked me. Not a lot of people going out and buying this book right now. 12-month average is $689 on 11 sales. In 2022, this book was up at $921, and in 2021, $1,047. Man, I am shocked this book has taken a beating. I didn't expect it to go this low. Regardless, as we check out the graph at the bottom of the screen, the chart, you can see we're almost back at that 2019 level. Not quite there yet, but that to me is where I expect this book to bottom. Again, with DC hot right now, a lot of those DC keys, really people are scooping them up because they're still relatively cheap. This one is definitely one I have my eye on. How about we stick with Diamond Comic Club and check out this copy of Amazing Spider-Man #1 in a CGC 1.0 with white pages to boot. I can't really check out what it says on this label. What does it say? It says small amount of dried glue on the cover. But either way, when we talk about blue labels, you guys know I have an ASM1 and a CGC 0.5 because I'm missing the back cover. So this one, a 1.0, presents a little rough, but other than that, not too bad. Either way, they were asking $4,799 for this book. Was it a good deal? I think anytime you can get an Amazing Spider-Man 1 that's complete and presents okay, if you get it for under GPA last sale and it's recent, I think you did a good job. Let's check out GPA. The last sale for this book was $5,500 just this month. The 90-day average, again, $5,550 on just 2 sales. The 12-month rolling average, $5,154 on 7 sales. No 22 average because this book in a 1.0 did not sell. And way back in 2021, only $5,958. I know ASM1, especially in higher grades, 2.5s, 2.0s, 3.0s, they have really come down in price. But check out the 1.0. Pretty steady since 2021. That to me is remarkable. I want to check out the chart at the bottom. Again, we're still in that upward trend line. I'm going to go ahead and draw it in for you guys. You can see where that trend line comes into play. Regardless, I love ASM1, especially if you can get it for a good deal. I think the buyer did a good job on this one. So let's head back to Elite Comics 11 and check out this book. Another book I think is under the radar right now because it has really dipped over the past couple of years. It is a copy of Fantastic Four number 52. This one in a 4.5 CGC off-white to white pager, listed by Elite 11 for $499. Now, when you get into the GPA data, you can see the last sale is right at that, $500. The 90-day average, $479 on 15 sales. The 12-month rolling average, $543 on a whopping 49 sales. That is quite a lot of sales over the past year. In 2022, the average was $888 on 34 sales. And way back in 2021, $1,000, $997 on 54 sales. You see how hot that book was way back when. Either way, a 50% decline in just over 2 years. But now, a mid-grade copy for $500. We're right where we're at, as you can see on the graph below. We're bottoming out. We'll see if it dips under that low from 2019, 2018 area. If it does, all bets are off. The book can go a lot lower. If it doesn't, if it holds around that area, 500, 475, around there, I'm definitely a buyer of this book. A great key. You know T'Challa eventually is going to come back to the MCU, but remember, all books right now are not tethered to the MCU. Let's stick in the Silver Age, and hell, let's stick with 4.5. Here we have another Elite Comics 11 book, a CGC 4.5 of the Invincible Iron Man #1 in an off-white to white pager, again offered for $449. Now, if you guys have been watching my channel forever, you know this is one of the books that I'm always buying. I'm always selling it too, but hey, I'm always buying it. Either way, $400 and change for a Silver Age mid-grade book, I'm always a buyer of. That's what I said with FF52 just prior, and it sticks with this book as well. But let's see what GPA says. The last sale for this book in this grade was $540 just this month. The 90-day average for this one, $458 on 9 sales. The 12-month rolling average, $471 on 39 sales. In 2022, $605 on 32 sales. And in 2021, the height of mass hysteria, as I say, $557 on 23 sales. Pretty steady over that time period. A little bit of an increase, a little bit of a decrease, and then just kind of steady. So I like to see that in books. We want to get a pop. We don't want to get too much of a pop, and we don't want to get too much of a drop either. But either way, let's check out the graph below. It's right where it needs to be on that trend line. If we hold that trend line, I expect it to go higher over time because that's what most of these books do. Either way, I love the first Iron Man in his own solo title and the origin retold. I would like a higher grade copy, I'm not going to lie, or at least a better presenting copy in my opinion, but either way, a solid buy. Okay, unfortunately, we have to talk about this book, and it absolutely breaks my heart. Here we have a copy of Amazing Spider-Man Annual #1, the first appearance of the Sinister Six in a CGC 4.0, off-white to white pages, and a great Spidey label, even though I gotta be honest with you, I like the old Spidey label better than I do this one. Regardless, Elite Comics 11 again offering this book up for $799. Now, when I say it breaks my heart, and I'm going to show you why. It's because where this book was in 2021 and where it is now is an absolute shame. The last sale for this book was this month for $633. The 90-day average was up at $766 on 7 sales. The 12-month rolling average, $955 on 24 sales. In 2022, guys, it was a whopping $1,995 on 11 sales. And in 2021, the average was $2,179. We're talking, what is that, a 75% decrease in value in just 2 years' time. I don't know why this book has taken a beating. I know it's not a true first appearance of an individual character, but it is a true first appearance of a team, right? The original Sinister Six. Definitely a must-own book, but where it is now in mid-grade, and it is hard to find this book in mid-grade. Usually this book can be found in 1.0s, 1.8s, even 0.5s, because a lot of the time the back cover ripped off this book. Be careful because there's also Canadian editions out there where the back cover is totally blank, whereas the US edition, they actually had ads on the back page like most of comics do. But either way, I'm sad to see where this book is, down 75% plus from the highs. Let's check out the chart below. We can see this book is really where it's supposed to be at that trend line. So I suggest really watching this book if you are interested in it, not pulling the trigger right now to see if we get that bounce off that trend line or if it's going to sink below and fall back into 2009, 2010 range. We'll see what happens. And the last book we're going to talk about this week is this copy of Amazing Spider-Man #41, offered up by Diamond Comic Club in a CBCS 5.0, verified signatures of Stan Lee and John Romita Sr. from the personal collection of Duke Caldwell. This book was offered up at only $595. The first thing that went through my mind was, how often do you see a book signed by Stan Lee and John Romita? Considering I own a copy of Amazing Spider-Man #39 with both of their signatures, I got to tell you, it's pretty rare. I also have a copy of Amazing Spider-Man 41 signed by John Romita. Either way, let's jump into the GPA data, and it's all over the place. Don't forget that GPA does not track sales of CBCS books. So what you see here are copies of CGC graded books. And the last CGC 5.0, only signed by John Romita, was sold in October for $551. The last Signature Series 5.0 by Stan Lee was $801 in January of 2019. Let's check out the last double signed by Lee and Romita Sr. It was a CGC 4.5 for only $599 in August of this year. Sometimes, depending on the book, Stan Lee's signature alone could go for about $1,000. Sometimes John Romita's signature is the same, especially on like an ASM 50 or something like that. It's also around $1,000 to get both their signatures on this classic cover, which is a great first appearance of the Rhino for only $500 and change, is an absolute steal in my opinion. that's it for this week's Instagram video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I actually enjoy trying to go through Elite Comics 11, Grails, Diamond Comic Club, or all these sellers out there that consign books, and look at the sales that occurred over the past couple of weeks. So I always check them out. If you guys are interested in seeing more of these videos, do me a favor, comment down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And what do you think of these books that sold? Obviously, I didn't take every book that sold off the pages, but I took the books to see what people are buying right now and what they're going for. So I hope you enjoyed the video. This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles saying thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.